because if this couple lives close by here and they're going home, minding their business, it could happen to anybody.
Now at 10, a beloved wife and mother gone in an instant, shot and killed on her way home. Only one clue deputies have to go on so far, and what else they need to solve this crime.
And are you risking your personal data by taking part in the popular Face app challenge? We're verifying claims that you're giving your personal info to the Russians.
The heat is on, but changes are coming for the weekend. I'll show you what to expect.
Good evening. We are starting with breaking news, and it is awful news in West Houston. A father is dead, and police think one of his teenage sons might be to blame.
Let's get right to Brett Buffington live along Eldridge near Briar Forest. What can you tell us, Brett?
And Lynn, tonight, what police aren't saying, Mia and Lynn, what police aren't saying is that what they think was behind all of this. There were two sons inside this apartment complex. Take a look at some of this video. You can see police here investigating this earlier this evening. This all started just after 6 o'clock. Police tell us that a 14-year-old and an 18-year-old boy, sons of this man, were inside of that apartment. The dad was also in there. According to police, they believe the older son at this point is the suspect in this. He's being detained, being questioned. A kitchen knife was the weapon police say was used here. And one of those sons, again believing it's the 18-year-old, took that kitchen knife and killed his father, according to what police have told us tonight. Again, they are questioning that son, again trying to figure out what led up to this. Police haven't said whether this was an altercation and this is how it ended, but we did learn from police that 18-year-old called 911 and told police that he had stabbed his father. Again, police all trying to figure this out tonight. I did ask how the mother of these two boys was taking this, and obviously not very well. We are live on the west side. Brett Buffington, KHOU 11 News.
Yeah, from one tragic story to another, Brett. It's been just over 24 hours since someone shot and killed 62-year-old Cerrone James as she was riding home with her husband. And tonight, one thing deputies have to go on is this white Audi SUV seen driving by at the time of the shooting. Grace White is live near where the shooting happened, near Katy, where neighbors are hoping the killers are caught soon. Grace?
Tonight, investigators are still looking for that SUV. It could be the key to solving a case where the biggest question is still the motive.
Her beaming smile, strong faith, and heart to help others. That's what Cerrone James's family says they'll remember about the 62-year-old wife and mom.
It could happen to anybody. So I really feel uneasy today. I'm hurt for that family.
Her death shocked the Katy area community, leaving neighbors wondering why.
Nobody can feel safe in their homes or in their neighborhood.
Harris County homicide detectives are now zeroing in on this surveillance footage. A white Audi SUV driving down Old Greenhouse Road minutes before the shooting. James and her husband were coming from the opposite direction. It was Tuesday evening, just before 6:30. They had just left a doctor appointment and were coming home discussing what to have for dinner when a gunshot blasted through the window, hitting James in the head. Her husband is okay and says he wasn't involved in any road rage. Investigators think this SUV may hold the key, and this community hopes someone will come forward.
My hope now is that they catch him, because these kind of crimes just cannot go unanswered, because it's only going to escalate.
Right now, there's only a vague description of the suspects, but investigators believe there was more than one person inside that SUV. If you have any information, call Crime Stoppers. Lynn and Mia.
All right, we'll pick it up from here. Grace White, thank you. Tonight, police are still looking for this red truck they say was involved in a shooting in Cleveland that killed a 16-year-old. Police say they found a second car connected to the shooting, a white van found in a ditch on fire. This was in Plum Grove, 8 miles south. The teen was shot in the parking lot of an HEB off Highway 59 around 2 p.m. They died in the hospital. No word what led up to the shooting.
Houston Congressman Al Green's latest attempt to impeach President Trump has once again failed. It's the third time Green has asked the House to vote for impeachment, but Democratic leaders say they want to build a stronger case against the president before going that far. President Trump had something to say about that during a rally in North Carolina tonight.
I just heard that the United States House of Representatives has overwhelmingly voted to kill the most ridiculous project I've ever been involved in. The resolution, how stupid is that, on impeachment.
The president also saying today he has no regrets about his tweet about 4 congresswomen of color saying they should go back to where they came from, even though they are all Americans. The House condemned those comments as racist. And in another tweet today, the president said this about the congresswomen, quote, "They're now the top most visible members of the House Democrats who are now wedded to this bitterness and hate." Let's jump outside and talk about the weather as we check the Galleria area. It is a sweltering night, even though we're not breaking any records, still a bit unpleasant.
David Paul is out in the late night heat. David, this is all part of a nationwide heat wave.
Well, guys, for the upper Midwest and the eastern half of the country, this is their first real heat wave of the summer season. They'll have near triple-digit weather and heat indexes well over 100. Here in Houston, it's mid-90s, which is a little bit above normal, but we're not setting any records here. But you know, even a typical summer day in Houston can be dangerously hot if you're working or playing out in it, so drink water, cover exposed skin, wear loose-fitting light-colored clothing, a broad-brimmed hat if you're working out in this weather. All these things add up to help keep you safe in the summer heat. Changes are coming, not so much cooler weather, but wetter weather, which can make things feel a lot more comfortable, but may also mess up your weekend plans, which we'll talk about in detail coming up here in just a couple of minutes.
All right, we'll see you then, David. Vindication tonight for the owners of a game room that was raided back in May. The DA has dropped money laundering charges against them.
And it is all because of a possible conflict of interest. A closer look at why the charges were dropped tops your 90-second nightcap.
Attorneys for Prime Social say the owners were introduced to at least one unnamed person who works for the Harris County DA's office. He allegedly convinced Prime Social that he was working on an ordinance for legal poker in Houston, and their business fell within that ordinance. But it would require a license that cost $250,000, which they paid.
We believe that we were victims of a fraud.
Thousands of new people moving to Midtown and nearby Edo in recent years have led to new businesses, new potential customers, and after a vote at City Hall today, a new way of handling parking.
They don't have to be told that they must have X number of spots.
A huge legal victory today for actor Kevin Spacey. Prosecutors in Massachusetts threw out sexual assault charges against the 2-time Oscar winner. Spacey was accused of groping an 18-year-old man at a bar in Nantucket in 2016. The case fell apart when Spacey's accuser refused to testify about text messages the defense said were deleted from his cell phone, and his cell phone went missing before the trial.
Before being handed a life sentence with no parole, Joaquin El Chapo Guzman addressed the court. Through an interpreter, the 62-year-old described his stay at a Manhattan jail as torture, saying, "I've been forced to drink unsanitary water. I've been denied access to fresh air and sunlight."
El Chapo was convicted in February on multiple conspiracy charges linked to drug trafficking.
Defense lawyers are planning to appeal.
Did you spot this outside tonight? The International Space Station visible from here in Houston. One of the folks up there, Nick Haig, who lives in Friendswood. Talk about perfect timing as we celebrate the role Space City played in the moon landing 50 years ago. And it's that anniversary that made for a big surprise for United passengers in Newark. Today, they thought they were boarding just a normal old flight to Houston.
Yeah, nothing normal about it. It was so much more than that. Janelle Bluda was on board.
Hey there, buddy.
It's a celebration.
This is a big deal. You get some space ice cream, okay?
A mile high.
Yeah. You want some space ice cream?
Let's call it a launch party.
Hi there. How are you doing?
From Newark to Houston, the party started in one part of the country.
It's something we all should celebrate. It's something that people recognize around the world. And there's celebrations happening around the world this week.
And ended in another.
In our city, we go big or we go home.
They're small steps onto the plane, taking them in to honor our giant leap.
It's 50 years. It's the moon landing.
With surprise guests, astronauts Kevin Ford and Peggy Whitson were on board. Passengers were given space ice cream, goodie bags. They even played a game.
I got to be an astronaut, win stuff, it was like a win-win situation for me.
As the first female commander of the ISS, Whitson says Apollo 11 played a significant role in her life.
It turned my life toward becoming an astronaut.
She hopes to be that same inspiration for young boys and girls today.
Just do the best job, make it happen, be the best at what you do, and you will succeed.
A water cannon salute wrapped up the flight, then another party at Bush Airport, praising the past while also focusing on the future.
Roughly 3 years, we will have astronauts back at the moon, in the region of the moon, this time women and men.
And then we're off to Mars. Standing for Houston, Janelle Blue to KHOU 11 News.